Today I'm going to be doing a glass repair on a Apple Watch. This is the Series 3 38mm. We'll start by disconnecting the three connectors that are attached to the display and the digitizer. This display cracked in a very interesting way. The glass separated from itself around the edge of the display, leaving a solid piece of glass on the frame, which is going to make my job a little easier because normally I have to work with a display that's embedded deeper in the glass like a bowl. I'll go ahead and disconnect the battery, which I could have done at the beginning, but I'm not too concerned about. Done this enough to not have to worry about it. And then carefully, if you're going to use tweezers or anything metal, know what you're doing before you attempt to do that. Next, I'm going to be removing, or at least pulling up the heatsink sticker. Now I'm going to pry up the digitizer connector. You want to do this with enough force to lift it, but you don't want to put any pressure on the display, so always be pulling up. Now we will start to separate the display from the glass and digitizer. This is a 0.04mm wire that I use to refurbish most of my screens. Now at the speed I'm doing this is much quicker than what normally would be. That is 4 times the speed. This whole video I'm going to do fairly quickly to keep it as short as possible because it is a very time-consuming repair. Next, I'm going to carefully rub at the display with my finger and rub the adhesive off. I don't like to use some of the harsher chemicals for extended periods of time on the displays. And so I do this patiently. I carefully am going to remove all of the adhesive. The displays are fairly flexible, so it's okay if they flex a little here and there, but you don't want to put too much pressure on them. You could damage them that way. Now, one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video is that the display did have some lines going down on one side. However, the Series 3 displays are super expensive compared to replacing just the touchscreen, and the customer was okay with those lines that were there as long as the glass was fixed and the touch was there. So I said, let's go ahead and do it. Next, we'll go ahead and clean up the display, removing all the rest of the debris and the adhesive. I do this using either alcohol or acetone, ensuring not to have too much excess of either. Then we'll go ahead and connect the display just to make sure it's still functioning as good as it can. These connectors are really annoying. I do not like them. The adhesive always gets in the way. I could remove it, but it helps to keep them together. Compared to the Series 1 where the connectors simply pop away, these ones having the small connectors and the very, very tight fit, the flex cable barely fits inside the connector before you can connect it down. And so you have to kind of really work at it, wiggling it into place. Once that's connected, we'll go ahead and turn it on and make sure the display still looks good. I think we're almost there. This requires quite a bit of patience and persistence. Alright, got it done. So we'll go ahead and connect the battery. Probably help if I removed the tag and connected it that way. It looks like it's coming on. If you look hard enough, you'll see the lines that I was talking about there on the left side. They do kind of fade away over time. Not entirely, but they become harder and harder to see, especially at a distance. At the beginning, they're very apparent, but you'll see them kind of slowly dissipate. Which I hope that they go away. It'd be cool. I doubt it, but they'd be nice. Alright, obviously we don't have a touchscreen, but we do have the zoom function, so we can use that to test the display. Alright, just showing you again that it's a Series 3. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn it off now by disconnecting the battery. Now we're going to go back in the back and prepare the display to adhere the new digitizer and glass to it. So I've made up this little stack of rubber mats that allow me to have a little bit of elevation when installing the glass, seeing as the display needs to be kind of embedded in the glass. I need a little bit of height, and so I've made a little mold to do that. I'm a little meticulous, and I'd say a little obsessed with making sure there's nothing in between the glass and the display. I don't want to see a speck of dust. I don't want to see something that I can't remove. So I'll go ahead and clean the display and on the inside of the digitizer as well before adhering this. We're going to be using Loca, it's liquid optical clear adhesive, to adhere it. There are other methods, but I have found that this is the easiest and most forgiving method to adhere the glass to. Now you need to make sure you've orientated the touch connector on the right side of the display. There's really only two ways it can go on, and you don't want to put it on the wrong way. We'll go ahead and set that on slowly so we don't get any bubbles. I waited a little long, and the Loca it went towards the top of the glass there, but letting gravity do its thing, it'll slowly but surely completely cover the entire display and adhere the glass to it. I don't want to force it. I don't want to push and force it anywhere, because that'll create pressure points where it may bubble in the future. I'd like it to ease into itself and to have a natural seal by letting gravity fix it for me. Alright, now what I'll do is I'll take it under my microscope so that I can view each corner. You can do this without a microscope. It's just so much easier when you can really see what you're doing. And you'll see quick flashes of purple and blue. That's my UV light. I flash the glass, as you may have seen in some of my other videos, to start to solidify the Loca so that it doesn't slide around as much. Now once I'm satisfied with the orientation of the display, I'll hit it harder with the UV light until it basically solidifies anything that the UV light has contact with. I did have a little bit of excess on the back, so we will clean that up. Normally I don't. It's because I waited a little longer and the adhesive didn't stay in the center. It had rolled up towards the top. There you can see at the bottom a little bit of excess, but I'm going to take some alcohol and a Q-tip, or multiple Q-tips, and carefully clean that up, and I like to push it around and form a good seal on the edge of the display. I'll also hit the inside of this with light so that it does cure the seal that the Loca has on the underside and on the inside of the display. Now the display is in so deep that excess Loca on the second and third series is okay, as long as it's not too much. And then I like to tap it just to see if it's been solidified or if it's still liquidous. And then I'll hit the front a little harder. Leave it there for a little bit more time. Now I'll get a piece of double-sided tape and lay it there where the connector goes, and I'll line up the connector with the others. And then I'll put the heat-seek sticker back on the plates as best I can to allow it to serve its purpose. I'll go ahead and rotate this slowly and hit each angle with light, making sure I get a good seal there with the adhesive. Alright, there's the Series 3. I realized that I had left the glass piece on, so I took it over to my heat plate for a couple minutes, and now I'll take a razor blade and gently get in between the display, or the glass, and the force touch sensor that runs around the edge of the display. And using a piece of plastic as to not cut the force touch sensor, I will roll it around, and you can see it came off in one piece, which I found interesting. I'm going to keep it. It's kind of almost like a souvenir, or to show what can happen to the glass. Now at this point, I should have, because I was coming up on finishing, I should have replaced the adhesive at this stage. That'll seal it. Once these are connected, I hate having to reconnect them, so you'll see that I kind of finagle the adhesive around the display to re-adhere it, but we'll go ahead and connect each of those connectors again. Turn it on, make sure it works, and we'll see if the touchscreen works. There we go. Sorry, that's really fast, but I'm trying to keep this video short. I'll go ahead and remove the old adhesive, seeing as it's not as sticky, and here's where I have to manipulate the new adhesive around the display, but I make it work. We'll go ahead and put the plate back in and screw down the plate for the battery connector. Remove the adhesive protection, and then go ahead and install the display and test it out. There you can see all the functions are working. I love the green light that it has. There we go. We'll turn it off. Last but not least, we'll go ahead and put the other part of the bracelet back on.